Hello again, and welcome to C-SPAN. I think that one's taken. C-PAN, C-Blog. Mr. C's blog, what's up? So by this point, we've looked at why it's important to incorporate media text in the classroom. I've given you an example of how to incorporate a media text into the classroom, a specific media text. Remember, that was looking specifically at commercials. So for any text, we're going to deconstruct the same way. If we're looking at Facebook, if we're looking at social networking, we're going to break down the same way. What are the biases involved in social networking? How does social networking work? And then we really want to deconstruct sort of what happens in social networking and how that relates to society, things like that. We really want a critical analysis of, a wall post or of the advertisements in Facebook, things like that. Like, what is Facebook obviously makes money. I'm digressing. Anyways, make sure that you're deconstructing everything. The same way we want to do gradual release with everything. Anyways, so now we're going to look at the payoffs. So what are the advantages? Why do scholars say it's great? It's great to incorporate media text. We already said, Dr. Mark Roulette said this is the best way really to teach critical thinking is to use something we know. Students know media text really well, so that works. Now we really want to look at what are the rewards for us as educators when we include media text in the classroom. So Mimi Ito, who we've talked about previously, states in her online interview, Learning with New Media, that her study focused on media that isn't typically seen as educational. They looked at things like Facebook, they looked at WoW, they looked at gaming, they looked at these medias that typically aren't seen as having any educational quality. As a gamer, comic book geek, tweeter, blogger, things like that, I get this. People look at Paris Hilton, they don't see him as having any educational quality. He does. I play WoW. People look at Warcraft, they look at gaming, and they don't see an educational quality to it, but what it really is a story, and there really is a lot of literacy there. So I really loved this interview with Mimi Ito. And so what she says is that there is tons of learning happening outside of school, and it's happening through these medias. And this learning can be good or bad. It can have good or bad experiences dependent on how students see it. And so what she says is that it's really important to incorporate these media into the school learning environment. So not to necessarily overtake it is what she warns against. She says we don't want to take it over. We don't want to go in there and conquer it and make it school. But what we need to do is create a balance so that other parents and other adults can see it as an educational quality, so that parents can sort of start to figure out. And I mean, not all parents, obviously. Some parents obviously get the tech savvy in the media, but so parents can really understand their students' fascination with these medias and with any media, and that will lead to a more educational structure, and it's really important. And if we incorporate these things in the classroom, then we're going to get engagement, and that's what Vicki Davis says. She says that if we only include paper and pencil in our classroom, if those are the ways that we allow students to present work, that we are going to lose a ton of learners. We're going to have a very specific set of people who succeed, and these people, they're actually out of the frame, but they're left out, and they're not going to excel. They're not going to know how, because paper and pencil isn't their thing. Sure, maybe they can do it, they do it well, they get a level 2, they get a 60, they 65, they're okay with it. But really, they could give you that same understanding through media text. And we're understanding this through differentiation instruction, which there's a lot of PED about at my school. It's the same basic concepts, but differentiation can mean an explosion of new ways of doing things based on these new media texts. We looked at using commercials, but tons of things. There's sites where students can create video games. They can create blogs, vlogs. They can use Facebook, Twitter, things like that to really get more in depth. Use Google Docs, use spreadsheets, use PowerPoints. And some of these things we use regularly, we're comfortable with them. They fit into school. Other things, not so much. So we really need to allow differentiation in presentation. And Mrs. Davis also says that the integration of new media empowers students, and that if they are empowered, you're just going to have a better classroom. And I think that's true. I really do think that when students feel that sense of empowerment, when they look at a task and they think, I can do great at this, that's when they love it. That's when school becomes fun. That's when school is enjoyable. No one wants to look at a task and think, there's no way I can do this. I can't even begin to do that. I can't write an essay. I can't write poetry. I can't play the xylophone. You want to look at a task and think successful. And no, we can't make everything easy for our students. I was at a differentiated workshop, and I wish I could remember the name of the presenter. She was awesome. And what she said, and I'm going to paraphrase because I can't remember exactly how she said it, was to give her, and she was a student, give me your most difficult task and allow me my easiest method of presentation. But give me the most difficult method of presentation and allow me the information that comes easiest to me. And I think that's really crucial to media text. I really think that we need to incorporate those things when we look at media, and we really need to we need students to feel successful and empowered in our classroom. And when they are, like Ms. Davis says, you're going to have an amazing class. You're going to have such a better classroom when students feel that sense of empowerment. Henry Jenkins says that students devalue the learning that is innate within media text because parents and other adults don't value it. We don't support it. We don't see the value of Twitter. We don't see the value of Facebook as an educational society. And so students themselves devalue the educational qualities in there. And Mimi Itu has said the same thing, that those are there. She doesn't really go into the value that Henry Jenkins goes into, but she does really state to us that everything we do online has this innate educational quality to it. And Henry Jenkins takes a step further, and he says, you know what, you can't devalue it because when you devalue it, the students devalue it, and they don't see the educational qualities there. So on a daily basis, there's these amazing things that they could be learning, but because we devalue it, they look at it as a realm outside of their own. And when we leave the realm of students outside the realm of school, then we're disengaging them, and we're not allowing students to come into the classroom. And I've had experiences, and I've talked to other teachers who've had experiences, where when you greet those students at the door, you say hi to them, you talk to them, you say, how's your day? You know, did you skateboard your way to school? What'd you do last night? Would you see this movie? Do you watch Lost? Things like that. Suddenly the students feel that there's a value to the things they do outside of school within school, and you can see immediately that change to students being more involved in your classroom. Or the term from an article we read called School Connectedness by Robert Bloom was connected. The students feel connected to the school. And if students value the things they do inside the school and they feel valued, then according to that document, students who feel valued are going to feel more connected. And students who are connected are going to have a greater chance for academic success. There's going to be less behavioral problems in your classroom, and there's going to be just a general climate that is different in your school and in your classroom because students feel that their ideas are acceptable. So it's going to be incorporating these things that students love into our classroom is going to be a huge change. And things that educators might ignore as educators, we don't see a value in that. When you allow students to bring that into the classroom, present their own media text and deconstruct it for you, and let them take the reins, let them show what they know, they feel valued, and they feel... We looked at a document about adolescent learners and how it's important, it's hard with adolescent learners because they really do have a sense of entitlement, and they really do have a sense of pride, and breaking that pride down really hurts your classroom. And so when you give them the reins, you say, I don't know, I've never played World of Warcraft, but sure, tell me all about it. Show me how this relates to literacy. Show me how this media text relates to our classroom. Bring it in. Bring in whatever media you want. Let's examine it. And when you do that, students feel valued, they feel connected, and when students feel connected, they are empowered. And when they are empowered, they can do anything, and when they can do anything, they love coming to school because there is a chance to fail and fail well. And, you know, if they fall flat on their face and you're there to support them, then it's great. But if they know going into it, they understand it, and they feel connected, then they're going to succeed. And when they succeed, they're going to love it. And when they love school, our job becomes so much easier. Anyways, I will see you tomorrow, so stay equal.